Have you ever come across a story so mysterious, so terrifying, that it kept you awake at night, wondering what really happened? There are some mysteries in the world that no amount of investigation can unravel: disappearances, deaths, and strange events that defy logic and explanation. Tonight we'll delve into 7 unsolved mysteries that continue to baffle experts and haunt the public's imagination. These are not just eerie tales, they are real-life stories that may never have a conclusion. Are you ready to face the unknown? Number 1. The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur, heading to Beijing with 239 passengers and crew. Everything was normal until the plane vanished from radar just 38 minutes into the flight. What followed was the most expensive and extensive search in aviation history. But nearly a decade later, we are no closer to finding out what happened to MH370. Wreckage from the flight has washed up on remote islands in the Indian Ocean, but the bulk of the plane and the bodies of those on board remain missing. The theories abound. Some suggest pilot suicide. Others believe in mechanical failure, hijacking, or even more bizarre conspiracy theories involving government cover-ups and extraterrestrial intervention. But no matter the theory, the truth remains elusive. How does a massive commercial airliner simply disappear without a trace? This mystery continues to haunt the families of those on board, as well as the entire aviation industry. What would you do if a loved one boarded a plane that vanished into thin air? The families of the MH370 victims still wake up every day without closure, trapped in a mystery that refuses to be solved. Number 2. The Dahlia Pass incident. It was supposed to be a typical hiking trip. In February 1959, 9 Russian hikers set out to conquer the slopes of the Ural Mountains. They were experienced mountaineers, well prepared for the trek, but they never made it back. When their bodies were discovered weeks later, the scene was beyond disturbing. Their tent had been ripped open from the inside, as if they were trying to escape something in a hurry. Some of the hikers were found half-dressed, despite the freezing conditions, and a few had injuries so severe they were described as similar to those suffered in a car crash, yet there were no signs of an external attack. Most bizarrely, some of the bodies were missing their eyes and tongues. Official investigations concluded that an unknown compelling force caused the deaths, but no one knows what that force could have been. Avalanche? Secret military testing? Aliens? To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of Russia's greatest unsolved mysteries. Would you have the courage to camp on the slopes where these 9 hikers met such a strange and terrifying end? Many have tried to retrace their steps, but no one has yet uncovered the truth behind what really happened that fateful night. Imagine being in a situation where everything you thought was safe suddenly turns deadly. What unseen force could drive 9 experienced hikers to flee into the cold, unprepared for the brutal conditions? Sometimes it's not what we see, but what we can't explain, that truly terrifies us. Number 3. The Zodiac Killer. Few serial killers have captured the public's imagination quite like the Zodiac Killer. Operating in Northern California during the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Zodiac taunted police and the media with cryptic letters, complex ciphers, and a promise that he would kill again. He claimed to have murdered 37 people, though only 5 confirmed victims have been attributed to him. What makes the Zodiac case so haunting is his ability to evade capture, despite leaving behind evidence and even offering clues to his identity. Some of his letters included ciphers, one of which took decades to crack. But even then, it revealed little about his motives or identity. The Zodiac's eerie threats, combined with his chilling confidence, have kept this case alive in the public consciousness for over 50 years. Was the Zodiac an ordinary man living among us, blending into society while harboring a dark and violent side? Or was he someone operating outside the bounds of normal human behavior, driven by an uncontrollable urge to kill and taunt? Despite numerous suspects over the years, the Zodiac's true identity remains a mystery. Could he still be out there, Or did he take his secrets to the grave? Number 4. The Summerton Man. In December 1948, a man was found dead on Summerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. He had no identification, and all the labels had been removed from his clothing. What followed was a mystery that has perplexed investigators for over 70 years. The man was well dressed, with no signs of violence on his body, but his cause of death couldn't be determined. In his pocket, investigators found a small, torn piece of paper with the words Tamam Shud, meaning it is finished in Persian. The torn paper was later traced to a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a book of Persian poetry found in a car near the crime scene. Inside the book was a code that has never been deciphered. Was the Summerton Man a spy, a victim of foul play, or did he die by his own hand, erasing his identity in the process? Despite numerous investigations, including recent efforts with DNA technology, the true identity of the Summerton Man remains unknown. It's unnerving to think that a person could live and die without leaving any trace of who they were. How many secrets did the Summerton Man take to his grave? Number 5. The Black Dahlia Murder. In 1947, the mutilated body of Elizabeth Short, better known as the Black Dahlia, was found in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. Her body had been bisected at the waist, drained of blood, and her face had been slashed into a grotesque smile. The crime shocked the nation and remains one of the most famous unsolved murders in American history. Despite a massive investigation and numerous suspects, the identity of Short's killer remains a mystery. Some believe her murder was the work of a serial killer, while others point to corruption within the LAPD or a cover-up involving Hollywood elites. Over the years, the case has been subject to countless books, movies, and conspiracy theories, but none have definitively solved the mystery. What makes the Black Dahlia case so haunting isn't just the brutal nature of the crime, but the idea that the killer may have been someone prominent, hiding in plain sight. Could they have lived out their life in peace, knowing they committed such a horrific crime? Number 6. The Mystery of the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste set sail from New York in 1872, bound for Italy with a cargo of alcohol. A month later, the ship was found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean with no sign of its crew. The ship was in good condition, with plenty of food and water on board. The crew's personal belongings were undisturbed, and there was no evidence of a struggle. The lifeboat, however, was missing, leading investigators to speculate that the crew abandoned ship for reasons unknown. The theories about what happened to the crew range from mutiny to piracy to a rogue wave, but none of these theories can fully explain why a capable crew would abandon a perfectly functional ship. The fate of the Mary Celeste's crew remains one of the greatest mysteries in maritime history. What could have driven the crew to leave their ship in the middle of the ocean? Did they meet a tragic end, or did something far more mysterious happen on board? The ocean holds many mysteries, but the Mary Celeste stands out because it defies logic. A ship found adrift with everything in place except its crew. What could have happened to make an entire crew vanish without a trace? Some mysteries may never be solved, but they continue to captivate us, leaving more questions than answers. Number 7. The Case of D.B. Cooper. On November 24th, 1971, a man using the alias Dan Cooper boarded a Boeing 727 flying from Portland to Seattle. Shortly after takeoff, he passed a note to the flight attendant claiming he had a bomb. He demanded $200,000 in ransom and 4 parachutes. After receiving the money and parachutes in Seattle, Cooper ordered the plane back into the air. Somewhere over the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, he parachuted out of the plane with the ransom money and was never seen again. Despite a massive manhunt and countless investigations over the years, Cooper's true identity and fate remain unknown. Some believe he died during the jump, while others think he escaped and lived out the rest of his life in anonymity. The few bills from the ransom that were found washed up on the shores of the Columbia River years later, but they only deepened the mystery. With D.B. Cooper have survived his daring escape, Or is his body still hidden somewhere in the vast wilderness? The mystery remains unsolved, leaving behind one of the most enduring criminal legends in U.S. history. These 7 unsolved mysteries continue to haunt us because they offer no clear answers. From the skies to the seas, from brutal murders to unexplained disappearances, each of these cases reminds us that sometimes the world doesn't make sense. As long as these mysteries remain unsolved, they will continue to captivate, terrify, and perplex us. They serve as a reminder that, despite all our advances in science and technology, there are still things we cannot explain. Whether it's the disappearance of an entire airplane or the identity of a brutal killer, these mysteries leave us with more questions than answers, ensuring that the stories live on in our collective consciousness. What do you think happened in these cases? Could the truth be more terrifying than the mystery itself, or is there a logical explanation waiting to be uncovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If these stories gave you chills, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the world's most chilling unsolved mysteries. But be warned, some questions may never be answered, and the truth might be darker than you can imagine.